Welcome to the She Wins podcast. I'm your host, Heather Sumlin, and today I have the fabulous Amanda Higginbotham, Miss Texas volunteer. Okay, Amanda, I've known you. Okay, you just told me your age, and if I'm doing the math, 11 years?
Yeah.
12 years?
You've known me a really long time. It's kind of scary. You've seen me go from this to this, so.
And, okay, so everybody else doesn't know you, potentially.
Hi, everybody.
So, can you give everybody a little bit of a backstory on who Amanda is?
Yes. So, hey, y'all. I'm Amanda. Thank you for listening to me today. I'm a born and raised Texan, so it's really special for me to wear Miss Texas Volunteer across my chest. I was originally... was I 13, 14 when I got involved in pageantry, and it really helped shape who I was. And then I left Texas all the way to North Dakota, and there's a reason, had to be a really good reason to bring me to North Dakota. I started pursuing aviation, so I ended up going to the University of North Dakota on an almost full scholarship to pursue international studies with French and Chinese language certificates, and then, of course, aeronautical science, where I was able to pursue aviation. I graduated there summa cum laude. I was able to flight instructs there for a few years, and I was really lucky to get on with what we call the Delta Propel program. So I started my airline transport pilot career, and I've been there for the past, year and a half. So for the past year and a half, I've been flying the CRJ series. It's one of those normal commercial jets that you see at the airports. I've been a first officer there, and I hope to upgrade to captain within the year. So that's just a little bit about me, I guess, career-wise. And then on the side, I do love being founder of the 501c3, Reach Out to Outreaches. I love playing piano. I love playing with my little dog and everything in between. So,
Okay, I have a question for you.
yes, of course.
People that don't love to fly
Yes.
or are freaked out to fly.
Oh, I deal with them all the time.
Yeah, okay. What's your advice?
Don't sit near the window. And I feel like that's kind of unique because most people are like, oh, you want to be next to the window. You don't feel so enclosed. You don't feel so trapped. Don't do it. When you look out the window and we're about to rotate and take off, it can be a scary pitch depending on how heavy the aircraft is. It's kind of weird for me sometimes when I pitch back and I'm like this in my chair. So sit on the aisle, take a deep breath, and make sure to order a Biscoff cookie if you're on American. And if you're on United, do one of those quinoa cookies. Highly recommended. And just sit back, try to relax, take a deep breath, and make sure you say hi to your pilot because, it might be me. We'll help give you a quick view, quick rundown. And I think it's fun once you just get over the initial fear of it.
I always like to pretend I sit in the aisle, but that's because I want to be able to get up
and use the restroom. I feel so bad and awkward asking people to move. Yeah,
it's weird because when I was a kid, I always wanted to sit by the window because I wanted to look out and everything. And then now that I'm an adult, I'm like, I like the window seat. That's fine because then if you want to take a nap, whatever.
Oh, that's my go-to.
I get that, but I can't sleep on a plane anyway. If it's an overnight flight, I can.
Okay.
Because I'm tired.
See, I just curl up and I'm out.
I cannot.
I'm snoozing.
I cannot, and I don't nap at all. Like if the sun is out, if the sun is up, so am I. Like
there you go.
It's just the way it is.
Someone like Frozen or something, right?
But
That's cute.
I've convinced myself sometimes there'll be a little turbulence, right?
Yeah.
Occasionally a little turbulence.
Yeah, we get
which
into that.
kind of a metaphor for life. You're gonna have it, right?
I love that.
But I like to pretend if I'm in that like aisle seat. This might sound cringy for some people, but I pretend like, what if I'm just on a bus?
There you go.
Because if I'm on a bus, I'm going to have like some
You're
like
in Louisiana or something, right? Where those roads have been through stuff. Yeah.
No big deal.
No big deal.
I put trust in the pilot. I figure they know how to fly the plane. I don't.
Most of the time.
And then, and if that doesn't work, I put trust in the Lord that,
There we go.
That if the pilot can't do it, he can, and then we're all good.
No, there's a couple of times that we are also like, well, it's a little bit of a ride today, huh? We also take the debate on whether or not how far we can take it before we have to turn on the seatbelt sign. And every now and then we're like, how bad is bad? Like if we were a passenger back there and we're like, yeah, it's fine. Yeehaw, we're fine. So because we have to decide how bad the turbulence is to put on the seatbelt sign. So
really?
Yes,
Y'all get to decide that.
We get to decide. Oh, aren't we so fancy? Yes. No, we get to decide seatbelt signs, and that's how we time the flight attendants when we get at certain altitudes. And yeah.
Oh, okay. So you can choose.
We do.
Because sometimes it is just clear.
It's just clear.
It feels fine.
If the
and they
seatbelt
turn
sign
it
is
on
still
they
on,
think something's coming.
No. That's just because we forgot. I feel like I'm spreading my airline secrets here. No, it's 100% because we just forgot to turn it off. So sometimes we're thinking ahead and we're like, hey, in 50 nautical miles, we're going to hit some clear air turbulence and we're going to be super cool and super proactive. But most of the time, I've even caught this. We're chatting, we're doing some sort of checklist, and we just forget to turn it off for y'all. Yeah.
Well, I had a flight attendant client of mine tell me once, because I was like, man, that sign comes on and I assume it's going to be bad. And then I think I can't get up and I can't go to the bathroom. And then that's when I have to go the worst.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And she's like, it's not like I can't make you sit down. She's
no,
like,
we just don't turn it off on and off. Yeah, we forget.
Can't force you. You know, so you're an adult. If you have to go, you can go. You should go at your own risk.
Yeah, no,
and
it's
I'm
true.
like, okay.
We have had a passenger in the lab while landing, and my captain looked at me and said, "Just don't flare too much." So, yeah, he was like 6 or 7 years old. He had to go. And at that point, we just understand and we try to come to a stop on the nearest taxiway. There's safety precautions, but yeah, it's happened. It's happened.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so now that we've discussed
that
airplanes and flying, you are preparing to head to Miss Volunteer America in June.
Am. Yes, ma'am.
And how about give people some sort of an idea of what is it like to be a pilot and a pageant participant? I feel like a lot of people are a little bit confused.
So my slang is I have a passport full of stamps and a heart full for service. That is truly the definition of what this past few months has been for me ever since I was crowned Miss Texas Volunteer. Really, it's a whirlwind and it's what you make it. And that's one of the things I tell people. Everything is what you make it and you got to do what you love. And I love both. I love being able to serve my community specifically through this wonderful organization and then turning around and having that role within STEM and having that small part of one's larger journey, getting from state to state and place to place. So for me personally, I feel like it's very fulfilling. I have a Google Calendar that's color-coded and I make sure that I feel like everything's attainable. I'm maxing out my appearances and what I can do, my volunteerism. And then at the end of the day, I just realized that I'm working how I'm wiring. The productivity is less like pressure and more like purpose. And that's one of the reasons I'm here and I want to take it to the national level.
So productivity for you is not pressure, it's purpose.
No, I think that's something I've really tried to internalize this past few months because you always want to do more. I think that's the best advice that I've been given is always want to do more and try harder and go from good to better to best. And so for me, as long as I keep it in check and I'm trying to keep everything purposeful and intentional, there's meaning behind it. And I wake up with a smile on my face, even if it's at 3 a.m. sometimes, and I'm ready to conquer the day. So that's my little advice, I guess.
Okay, so everyone who competes in the majority of the systems have a platform requirement.
Yes. Yeah.
And in volunteer, it's called a serve initiative, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you tell everybody about yours?
So my serve is called the Spark Initiative, and it all relies on igniting those small sparks of curiosity to turn into big lifelong goals and dreams. And this kind of follows my personal journey being an airline pilot. It started as a small spark when I was in the Civil Air Patrol, which is an auxiliary unit of the United States Air Force. And when I was 14 years old, I went on my first orientation flight. And let me tell you, talk about a spark. When I held that yoke for the first time and I just lifted up into the air, I felt like I had so much power and control over my life, over the plane, over my circumstances, and that's something I desperately was reaching for. And from there, I went to their Proud Flight Academy. I got a scholarship for my first license, my private pilot's license, and that spark had grown into a big flame. And that's how I ended up pursuing it for the years to come and where I am now. So I was a NASA STEM ambassador for a few years, and that changed how I viewed interpreting and promoting STEM. I want to make it hands-on. I want to make it fun and meaningful and engaging and interactive, and that's what I've done. I've gone to the Salvation Army, and I'm going to go again for their first after-school program in Irving here in a couple of weeks. And we're doing Stomp Rockets for the first one and talking about the basics of, Newton's third law and equal and opposite reaction, and just kind of igniting and planting that seed and making it fun and also within reach. A lot of kids don't think they could go into STEM. I didn't. And so by being there and, of course, making it more meaningful by wearing a crown and sash for all the girls to be like, oh, that's so cool. That's so cute. I think it's a full circle moment for me, and especially a great way that I make it come full circle, of course, but paying it forward to them.
I remember, first of all, I love all that.
Thank you.
Very, very,
That's a little yappy. Sorry,
very
guys.
cool. And you've had your 501c3 outreach to outreaches. So you've been doing so much for just volunteering and that kind of thing. So I feel like this title and this opportunity fits you really well. I met Amanda, for those of you who don't know, I met Amanda when I'm getting a phone call. I'm not answering that.
She's really cool. Her time is in high demand.
Funny. I just shouldn't have my phone right there. So I met you when you were like 12 or 13.
Yes, ma'am.
And one memory that I have of you, and if you don't allow us to say this, we can just cut.
No, go for it. I'm an open book at this point.
Okay.
Go for it.
I remember, I think you had won one of your first local titles. We'd worked together maybe even before this, but you'd won one of your first local titles, and someone, and we're not going to out anybody, but someone had basically made fun of your voice.
Yes.
And I remember this hit really, really hard for you. I feel like I just remember you being like really upset about it. I may have gotten a phone call from your mom, actually.
Oh, yeah. She's been very nice. I was called Minnie Mouse, just for all those tuning in. She's just trying to protect me. She doesn't need to. Being so young, I took that way too hard. Yeah.
And it was one of those things where, and you were so smart, like involved in so many things. When she says Chinese certificate, she's like fluent in Chinese. She was flying airplanes, speaking Chinese, speaking French, volunteering all over the place. And it was like there was no task was too small for Amanda to try. And it was almost over. I remember. In fact, I think you had a judge come up to you once. You tell me if I'm right and if we can say this one out loud.
I think I know where you're going with this. Yes.
Yeah, and said, I didn't believe your resume.
Which in a way was the biggest compliment ever. But when you're like 15 or 16 and you know you have somebody come up to you, I was like, well, I guess that means I'm doing something right. But no.
Yeah. And it was overwhelming. I remember. So I work with paperwork too. So I remember helping you try to shave your paperwork down to try to fit everything on the one page, which we're doing again for Miss Volunteer. But it's like, it's so hard because you do so much. Now, so here's my question though.
Okay.
Of all the things that you've done, it doesn't have to be an accomplishment because sometimes we can chase awards and trophies all day long.
Yeah.
But what's been a defining moment for you? And was it wrapped around an achievement or was it something deeper?
You know, it's funny. You mentioned that story about being so young and having it called out to your face, like the elephant in the room. Like, even now I have a high-pitched voice. So you can imagine when it was younger. And I was sharing with Miss Heather earlier that when I hear myself on live ATC, which do not know if I recommend necessarily, but if you go listen to me, live ATC, it's a website that you can hear pilots actively live communicating in certain big airports. And I'm based out of DFW. So a lot of times I'll hop on to look at a funny moment or clarify something. And I hear my voice and I'm still cringing. I feel like we all do that, but it's like bad for me. But anywho, it showed my character development and how far I've come when I really did make my first welcome aboard announcement. And of course, you all have, there's been so many defining moments. It was the first time I actually gave a check to Grace Grapevine through my reach out to outreaches and was able to actually see that I made an impact awareness wise, but also financially, because let's be honest, that's one of the most important things to do. So that was a defining moment. Being able to, of course, that first flight and really choose aviation, that was a defining moment. But my full circle, wow, I've made it, deep, big breath, was the first welcome aboard announcement I did when I was able to say, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard American Airlines flight 1234. I'll be your FO flying this leg today. And I think that kind of wrapping around to the voice and turning those stripes into authority and achievement and skill, it was something that stuck with me. And to this day, it's made it all worth it. So
ever since I've known you, you wanted to fly.
Yeah, it's just one of those feelings you get.
And now that you are doing that for your career and your profession, you've made it, you've accomplished that. is it what you thought it was going to be? Or are you like thinking,
let's get real here.
What's next?
A little bit of both. So in the sense of, is it everything I thought it was going to be? When I'm in that cockpit, yes. When I'm able to butter those landings and I have passengers like, hey, good landing, I'm like, whew. Yes, I made it. I'm still doing good. But in regards to lifestyle, of course, it's been a change. And I've been learning how to really work on work-life balance, and especially now being Miss Texas Volunteer, integrating that into the balance and prioritizing and making sure I'm really achieving the things I want most in life. So I'm excited to move on further. I hope to reach the Legacy Airlines here soon. And I think that will allow me to truly settle in, maybe go over to a management role, help continue making aviation safer, more efficient, more effective. And I really do think once I make it to that point, I'll be able to settle in. But right now, I'm still full speed. I'm still like taking that next staircase. Aviation life, honestly, is one staircase, right? You have to keep taking that next step, higher floors, better views. And so that's something I've been working on. But in the sense of, do I love it as much as I thought I would? Absolutely.
So. Nice. Okay. What if somebody wants to pursue aviation advice for someone who's interested in being a pilot?
So I have lots of jargon. If you ever want to send me a DM because you're really interested, there's a lot of actual terms, Part 141, Part 61, all these different schools, CFI, II, all these different jargon terms that I will give you. But just in general, overall surface level advice is just be ready to persevere through it. Aviation's such a long journey, and I don't think people realize that getting in. There's 4 or 5 different certificates. Even commercial, you have your commercial license, but you can't fly commercially. That's something called your airline transport pilot's license. So it's a whole another level on top of it. So a lot of people don't realize that it's going to be a long journey, but it's going to be so worth it. Kind of like the gold at the end of the rainbow, right? You got to track there, you got to hike there. There's a lot of times I felt discouraged. My first multi-engine flight, I did not know if I was going to be strong enough to deal with single engine operations. And once you learn how to finesse the plane and you learn you have these tools, you have trim, you have opposite weight, you have something called zero slip, you have all these different resources available to you. Seek them, internalize them, apply them, and you're fit for success and you'll fly high. So.
Oh, I love that. Okay, look at you. That's like you've said that before.
Thank you. It was not. That's what you call just yapping a lot.
Yeah,
so.
You just like to yap.
Yeah.
Okay. Outside of aviation, what's the best advice you've ever been given?
Oh, that's a good one. I've had so many pivotal people and moments of advice, especially from this one right here. I think, though, my favorites, all some in one, I mentioned it a little bit earlier. It goes good, better, best. And I love that's like a mantra, good, better, best, because it's reminding me to don't stop until my good is better and my better is my personal best. It's reminding me not to compare myself to anyone, to be my personal best, be the best orange or apple out there you can be. But at the end of the day, just to keep taking that one step forward, don't fear everything, face everything. And then at the end of the day, your stressful to-dos will turn into like excited get-tos. Just wake up, you're excited to do this. You get to do this to become better.
Hang on.
And that's
your stressful to-dos.
Okay, I didn't know that
will
was
become your excited get-tos. I love
it. Do you like that? Wow,
yes.
I just pulled that out, you guys. I thought she was about to say it. What did you say? We need clarification.
I love that. Your stressful to-dos.
Oh my gosh, you're making
turn
me
into
blush.
excited get-tos. Hey,
Thank you.
Thank
you.
that's the name of your future book. Look at you.
There we go. Well, I can't say it's coming to Kindle anytime soon, but no, seriously, that's like you just have to reframe your mindset, and if you just work on yourself and becoming uniquely you, I feel like that empowers you to do the best you can. So that's what I try to do every day. Wake up and be the best me. So
okay, so being a pilot, you're in a very male-dominated field.
Yes.
So what's the percentage? Do you know? Like,
we're sitting still at about 5%. That was the most updated last year. And I should clarify, remember how I said there are so many different licenses? So at my level, to fly what we call Part 121, that's at the airline level that all of the passengers are familiar with, that's sitting at 5.2% for the year of 2025.
So there's only 5% of female
ATP pilots, yeah. So, but I think that's going to spike up. I see it in the next generation or two that are currently training. So I think that it's heading in a positive direction.
So what is it that's keeping women from not wanting to pursue it, or is it that? Are they discouraged from it? Does everybody just assume they're going to be a flight attendant? Like, what's the situation?
I think it's a little bit of everything. I don't think it's a one-size-fits-all answer. I've been trying to figure that out for the longest time, but I really think it's because of exposure to opportunities to actually get you there. Yeah. I know me personally, it's funny. She says I've wanted to be a pilot forever, but that really didn't start until I had my first orientation flight through the Civil Air Patrol, which is a program for all.
Why did you join the Civil Air Patrol then?
My mama forced me to.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. I wish that was a deeper story. No, my mama was behind that. I was a big dancer. I still love dancing. I danced all throughout college. I have so much respect for it. But I was just a dancer, and my mom's like, you're going to do more with your life. And that's really when I got involved in volunteering, and she found the Silver Air Patrol. And actually, I had a lot of friends that didn't stick with it, and I kind of took it all the way because I loved it so much. But it was one of the opportunities. Without that, I really don't think I would have pursued it because it was so instrumental in making it seem obtainable. Aviation is such a long journey, and it can be such a large commitment, time-wise, financially-wise, all these different aspects, that I think it's discouraging. And so one of the things I do through the Spark Initiative is give next steps. Because once you have that curiosity, you have to actually explore it. And so whether it is joining the Eagle Scouts, or not Eagle Scouts, excuse me, Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, because they have a lot of STEM now, or going to your local Silver Air Patrol or JROTC, or there's the Young Eagles Association, EAA. There's so many different programs out there that people don't know of. And that's, I think, what's going to actually support the next generation and try to get that statistic up a little bit.
I think you're the only person I've ever met that has done the Civil Air Patrol.
Yeah. It's, and it's such a great program. So now there's going to be hopefully a big influx. Go to the website. It's cool. You won't regret it. You get to dress up, and it's a military program. It's like JROTC, so we have like drill, and let me tell you, I was so uncoordinated. They had me hold a rock in my left hand because when they said like left face, right, you like turn to the left. I kept turning right. And I was a blonde, right? And so they had me hold a rock in my left hand so I wouldn't forget my left from my right. So
that's cool. Hysterical.
Oh, I have too many stories. I have so many stories, Miss Heather. That's just one of them. That's the least embarrassing one. So
that's the least embarrassing one. So that's the one you're gonna choose to share. Yes, so what's the hardest part of preparing for the pageant competition? Is it the balancing being a pilot, or is it what is it at this point?
It's saying no. And I hate saying no. As you said, I don't think anything's too small. And there's been lovely people in my life. They're like, hey, can you go to Lubbock real quick? Hey, can you go to Big Streets? Hey, do you mind going to Houston for a quick 2-hour event? And I just struggle saying no because I just want to say yes and do everything. And that's been the hardest part because in this year of prep, you want to make sure you're prepping and you're leaving time to do the not fun things like paperwork, and going and working out and working on your mental management. And so I think it's saying no to all of the things that I want to do and prioritizing the appearances, no matter if they're big or small. But I hate that saying no, because I just want to do everything. I wish I had my butt in 2 places at once. So
you want to win the national pageant so you don't have to say no anymore.
There we go. That's great.
So there you go.
Yes. Yeah. I just want to be able to do everything.
You're going to say crown me so I can say yes.
I just want to keep doing this for as long as possible because I genuinely love it. And, I think that I've gotten better and better at exploring STEM and promoting STEM. And I think I do a good job just, of course, yapping about Miss Texas Volunteer and the organization as a whole. So
I don't know if you can answer this question like live, but this might be a question for another day. But what's been the strangest comment you've gotten from somebody because I can just imagine Amanda walks up and she's like, I'm flying the airplane, and you just don't necessarily look like a pilot.
It's ranged, and some of them are kind of depressing. I had this one, if y'all are familiar with DFW, there's a Skylink tram, and I was on the train going from one terminal to the next, and I was just sitting there, and I do have this little tag that says pilot on my suitcase. There was this cutest little girl, and she's like, Daddy, is she a pilot? And I'm on my phone. I'm trying not to eavesdrop, but it's loud. Kids are loud, so I kind of peer over. The dad looks at me, goes, no, and goes back onto his phone. I kid you not. not. I kid you
Did
not.
you correct?
I was like, well, it's one of those things where I was like trying to debate if it was like appropriate to like say something.
Oh.
So all I did was like move my suitcase a little bit more so they could see the pilot tag.
Yeah.
I didn't want to but I think that was one of the moments that I decided I wanted to not necessarily speak up more, but I was going to stand up for myself a little bit more. And then I've shared stories with her about passengers making comments, of course, about me being a flight attendant, and the gate agents are saying, hey, pilot, welcome aboard or whatnot. But I think that was one of the stories that really showed me that I still have a role to play, and I'm still out there sharing a message that needs to be heard, because sometimes whether it's habit or bias or just unfamiliarity with the industry, passengers don't always perceive what's true. Right. And that's one of the things I love, being able to stand up there, greeting passengers as they come in and off, and being able to represent something larger than myself.
I think I could not have resisted the temptation.
Oh my gosh, you should be so proud of me, Miss Heather. I was like, it's okay. I just moved the suitcase and I was like, see that tag?
Do you think she saw it?
To this day, I think that was one of my biggest regrets. That was early on. Yeah. And I wish I would have said something. But I think it's because of that I realized that it was still an issue. Because being in it, you kind of get desensitized to what's going on around you. So that kind of showed me that I wanted to do something more and do something further. So to this day, I still don't know.
I kind of wish you would have just put your phone down for a second, looked at her and said, yes, ma'am, I am.
Yeah. To this day, I do. And it's I found a way to do it depending on the circumstance. Usually when girls come up to me, and not even just girls, but little boys too. I had 2 siblings come up to the cockpit, and we always let them, speaking of the seatbelt sign, right, y'all? Yeah. We let them turn it off and on, like when they're boarding, right? They hear it, so it's like something they can click that they know they've made it. Yeah, anyways. So they're up, and the mom's like, okay, son, like go, and took time with the son, gave him a cool little set of wings. He turned the seatbelt sign off and on, and the parents are turning back, and I said, hey girl, would you like to come up? Yeah. She was so excited. Excited, and she was able to chime, and she turned around, she asked for a photo, and I think it's just those little subtle moments that aren't even purposeful by parents or mentors, but it's like realizing and noticing things early on and making that connection for them. And so I said, in my head, I kind of made up for it, and I still have a lot to do, but that's one of the positive stories.
Have you had anybody tell you, I'm pursuing aviation because of you?
Yes. And it was, wow, okay, this is very random, but I used to be part of a performance troupe called Empowered, and now it's called God's Country's Kids, and shout out to Miss Debbie. And so we still travel across the Metroplex providing Christmas entertainment, whether it's at Love for Kids events or at local nursing homes and retirement centers. And I had one lady come up to me, and she was so excited, and she was like, you know what? My son, you mentioned being in aviation, and my son started flying. And actually, she'll know this, Larissa, who is the owner of Shimmer Boutique, one of the best sponsors out there, great store. But her son was introduced to aviation by my family. And her son is also right there, almost at the airline level. He's been in it for a few years now. So I think it's more people than I realize. And so by having people come up to me and be like, wow, like you started something, you planted this seed, you inspired someone to do something. It's been amazing because it makes it more worthwhile. I feel like I'm actually doing something. But no, I have had a couple of people.
I love that.
It's been a really cool ride.
So you're telling kids, don't just fly a kite, fly a plane.
There we go. Yeah. I like that.
Okay.
I like that.
So what's something that you feel like you've learned? Obviously, I've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
What's something that you've learned that you think is valuable from maybe your pageant experience, but that has like transitioned over into whether it's your career or your personal life?
So much. It's so funny because the number one question I'm asked is pageantry relevant anymore? It is. I'm living proof of that. I didn't even think I would be back here in pageantry, and here I am because it is so relevant. And one of the best skills I learned being young, of course, working with Miss Heather, was how to speak to people and how to be relatable and adaptable. So being a pageant girl means so much more than looking pretty and showing up and giving a nice speech tied in a bow. It has to do with making people feel seen and heard, which is one of the best qualities of a leader. And being a pilot, you are are leading a team, especially with that captain upgrade coming in soon. I'm going to be the PIC, the pilot in command, not just flying, but in command of the aircraft, and being able to adapt to situations, relate to people, make them feel seen or heard, whether it's the flight attendants, the pilot beside you, or the passenger in the back. It's crucial. And I think being in pageantry, learning how to express myself and more importantly, listen to others and internalize what people were going through and turn it around. Crazy. Changed my life and truly made me the person I am today.
So how do you handle the pressure? Eagerly, I think that would be the hardest part is like you have, I don't know how many people are on your plane, but
it ranges, but we can have up to like 80 or 85. I'm still at the CRJ level.
So 85 lives are in your hands. How do you handle the pressure?
Just falling back on your training.
Oh,
which sounds kind of familiar, right? Seriously, when you train and you prepare knowing that anything could happen, you're prepared for anything to happen. Like you've already gone through everything. Once a year, they throw us in the simulators and they do their worst to us, right? I just got done with mine a couple weeks ago. It's engine outs, brakes in op, caution messages, hydraulic pump failure, whatever it is, they throw it at us. And the passengers, I tell them, you can have full faith that we've seen what we could be going through. And when you prepare for all possible circumstances and nothing takes you off guard, you feel empowered and comfortable to take that step back, evaluate the situation, and move forward full steam ahead with what you've been trained to do best. And so that's one of the reasons. And that's one of the reasons how and reasons why I continue to do this job and deal with the pressure is because you rely on your training. And then once you know you've trained, you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. It's great. Once we're done with our checklist, we just chat and enjoy the view. And that's one of the most wonderful feelings in the world is being so prepared for anything. You can just relax because nothing can take you off guard.
Awesome. And you're going to take that same advice and apply it to.
That's what I'm working on. That's the goal.
Like it's harder to apply that to the pageant week than it is to your
my whole career. But yeah, no, that I should just be like listening to this in a mirror right now because
you're going to rewatch yourself.
I'm just going to rewatch myself and try to take my own advice there. But seriously, I feel like that's my goal. It's just to go in completely trained and confident in myself and who I am.
Perfect. Yeah, that's awesome. If you want to follow along Amanda's journey, how do they follow you on social media?
Yes, so I have a couple different ones. My official is Miss TX Texas Volunteer. And then also I have a personal, it's not related at all. It's AN as in November, HIGGI. So AN Higgy. So those are the two. You can also check out my 501c3 website. It's reachouttoutreaches.org. And then of course, just any sort of national platform like Miss Volunteer Americas and whatnot. You'll see all the info on there.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming and chatting with me.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. And if you're not already a She Wins Solutions for Pageantry Patreon member, I'm about to pick Amanda's brain on a little more pageant specific prep. Ooh. How does she prepare for the interview room? How does she prepare for the different phases of competition? So if you are competing in pageantry or want to be, join the Patreon channel so that you can learn more.
Yeah, come listen to me more. Thanks, guys.